Brother thieves, sister assassins, welcome back. I'm here once again with another episode of I Played a Thing, Dragonworld. Last time we saw a couple of things that I've never seen before in my many runs of this game, so that was kinda cool. We also rescued Prince Olin from the depths of Castle Doomhaven, so today we're going to be taking him home. I also think that we'll be able to finish up the game today without the video running too terribly long, so let's get right down to business. Off to the castle. And immediately we hit a disk swap. One moment. We've seen this cell before, so I'm going to take the route straight to the palace. It's not actually necessary, but I'm going to go ahead and take off the cowls just to make this feel a little less weird. And now that we have Prince Olin with us, the guards will be a bit more friendly. And in an even bigger difference than last time, we can march right in. The sentries stand aside respectfully, only their military training preventing them from making a joyous outburst at Prince Olin's safe return. "Follow me, my friends," Olin says to you. You and Hawkwind and Olin are in the splendid main hall of the Palace of Candish. The walls are of luminous crystal and precious gems. At Prince Olin's entrance, a joyous uproar begins. Trumpets sound, and magnificent tapestries part to reveal the monarch Tormalion. He embraces Prince Olin joyfully. Monarch Tormalion turns to you and Hawkwind. "I thank you for heeding an old man's request and returning my dear son-to-be. In return, you may ask of me what you will." Now here's what we've been waiting for. We can now press him for a little information on our lost friend, the last dragon. Ask Tormalion about dragon. We have learned that the Duke of Darkness used a wind ship disguised as a dragon to lure the last dragon south to Dragonmount. Is it just me, or does that paint the last dragon as a little bit gullible? I mean, I know you could dress up and paint the wind ship to look a little more dragon-like, but it's basically still going to be a big-ass flying boat with balloon sails on it. It's not going to look that much like a dragon. Ah well, I guess when you do truly believe yourself to be the last of your kind but hold out hopes otherwise, a little desperation will drive you to do desperate things. Anyway, there's that Duke of Darkness again. Exactly who is this guy? Yep, gotta watch my spelling there. Monarch Tormalion says, "The Duke of Darkness, ruler of Dragonmount, has captured the last dragon. He is a madman. He intends to kill the dragon in an arcane ritual, which he believes will make him ruler of Simbala. He dabbles in necromancy. No doubt the dragon was overcome by some magical powder or serum. The Duke is a clever villain. Be prepared to use all of your resources to stop him. And we now have a proper antagonist. But you probably saw that coming, what with the whole name Duke of Darkness and all. Alright, thank you very much, Your Highness. Is there anything else you can tell us about the mountain? I'm afraid there's nothing more I can tell you. Well, fair enough, you have been very informative. Now, something that you may have noticed is that he doesn't actually give us any puzzle solutions or key items or anything like that. That's because this whole submission with Prince Alin is actually optional. You can completely ignore it and still finish the game. However, because it does convey quite a bit of important flavor regarding what happened to the dragon and what's up with our antagonist, it's worth doing. At any rate, that is about all we're going to get out of Tormalion, so we can now take our leave. As you take your leave of the monarch and his son, Tormalion takes from his robe a diamond as big as your fist and presents it to you. A small token indeed in return for the happiness you have brought me. The monarch and his son wish you luck as the palace guards usher you out. Well, that was very sweet of him. The diamond is yet another piece of treasure that doesn't actually do anything of value. However, one would assume that it carries quite a bit of value, so Amsel's gonna be one very rich dude when he returns to Pandora. We're not quite done with the whole taking Alin home thing, though. What I just showed you is the normal way of returning Alin to his father. There's another way we can do it, which involves going through the secret entrance that we opened with the Amber Tree Bear. I'm going to reload my state and show you that now. Alright, here we are at the secret entrance to Tormalion's palace. In we go. We've seen all this before, so no need to read out the room descriptions. When we enter with Alin accompanying us, it plays that long fanfare again, which I can skip this time. And then it prints this line of glitch text. Not exactly sure what was supposed to be here, but I'm assuming it wasn't that. Anyway, we can now talk to Tormalion, and he'll give us the opportunity to ask him a question. Ask me what you will, don't mind if I do. So if you take the back door into the palace, he gives you a slightly modified version of his speech about the Duke. He never actually tells you about the dragon being fooled by the wind ship on this route. And then, if you try to ask him about the Duke, he has nothing else to say on the subject. So, while this path does play the fanfare and all, and Alin does have his happy return home, it feels a little more somber somehow. I guess because it doesn't say everything about the guards nearly jumping for joy, and Monarch Tormalion embracing his son, and all that kind of stuff. Maybe they don't appreciate you coming in the back way, I don't know. Anyway, there's one more significant difference which will come up as soon as we leave, so let's do that. Oh, okay, we have to do that by the direction. Fair enough. When you are ready to leave, 2 palace guards escort you out. The Monarch Tormalion has given you 500 talmas to help you in your quest for your friend the Last Dragon. So that's kind of interesting. He doesn't give you the diamond, which is probably worth more than 500 talmas, but he gives you 500 talmas, which is actually useful. This, of course, being the other potential source of money if you happen to get robbed of the money that you can lift from the thieves' treasure. If you somehow manage to exhaust your initial 100 Talmas, the 500 from the Thieves' Treasure Trove, the 500 from Monarch Tormalion, and the 50 from the Moneylender Callus, and you still haven't bought the Star Sword, the Rope, and the Elixir, then you are pretty well screwed and it's time to start the game over. Unless, of course, you're playing the first revision of the game on the C64 and you're very, very patient, in which you can eventually win the required amounts of money playing Dragonstones. Anyway, at this point we know what we have to do. We have to go to Dragonmount and confront the Duke of Darkness to rescue our dragonly friend. But there's one more thing we're going to need in order to successfully complete the endgame, and that's something there's been just a little bit of hinting at. If you've really been keeping an eye on things, you may recall from the mezzanine at the library and Jokana's cell at the garrison, you can look through the window and see a distant island. That's the only real mention of the island, and from that you just kinda have to divine that that's a place you need to go. And since the garrison and the library are to the west of the plaza, that's your only indication that the island is also going to be off to the west. So from here we're going to go north. And then I believe we'll be able to head west from here, and then west a little more, and that will get us on the path to the island, he said hopefully. Yeah, that's the right place. You and Hawkwind are at a small dock. To the west on the horizon is a small island. Tied to the dock is a little wooden dinghy with 2 chipped oars. And we shall proceed in the obvious way. Get in boat. Okay. Board boat. Kind of weird that get in boat doesn't work here, considering it worked with the boat at the very beginning of the game, but no big deal. And then we shall untie it, and then we shall commence with the rowing. You are in a small drab dinghy in the middle of the lake. West is an island, east is the dock. Empty water stretches off in all other directions. Glancing overboard, you see through the clear water a sunken ship resting gently on the lake bottom. Well, surely the game wouldn't mention a sunken ship if we weren't meant to investigate it, right? You and Hawkwind carefully place all your possessions in the boat and dive overboard. You and Hawkwind are at the bottom of the lake. Nearby is an underwater forest of tangleweed. West of you is a sunken ship, crusted with slime. There is a gaping hole in the side. Something moves inside. Well, something moving inside sounds a bit dangerous, so I think it's a good time to plop down another save state. Let's proceed inside nice and cautious. You swim toward the ship. Suddenly, a giant Marta hurtles out of the hull and swims toward you, its parrot-like beak snapping, its tentacles unlooped toward you. Well, we'll begin by doing what we always do. Try to make friends. What happens if we just try to proceed by? Tentacles seize both of you. You struggle weakly, but lack of air and the strength of the Marta overcome you. You die. A thoroughly predictable outcome. Let's try that again. As luck would have it, the solution to this encounter is really, really simple. Just go back the way you came. The Marta follows you into the tangleweed and is hopelessly entangled. It thrashes about fitfully. And once the Marta is thus ensnared, you have all the time in the world. You and Hawkwind are inside the sunken ship. East of you is a hole in the side of the ship. Before you is a treasure chest. Don't mind if I do. Opened. Inside the chest is a large pearl-colored conch shell. Once again, don't mind if I do. You return briefly to the surface for air before diving again. Taken. And we have once again acquired, to the best of my knowledge, a completely useless item. Dragonworld has quite a lot of those. I'd understand it better if this were like a Sierra game where you get points for acquiring things, but Dragonworld has no scoring system. So I don't know if it's for bragging rights, or if it's all signs of cut content, or what the deal is, but yeah, a lot of red herrings and useless items strewn throughout the game. Some of them with suspiciously elaborate methods for getting hold of them, like this and the moon crystal. Ah well, your guess once again is as good as mine. Time to head back to the surface. And let us proceed onto the island. You and Hawkwind are on a small beach. To the north and south, the island is ringed by jagged cliffs. The cliffs and the ground are of a strange purple color. Nearby is a rock on which is carved the legend, "Beware, this is Monster Island. Do not wake the sleeping danger." Bah, we ain't afraid of no monster. Oh, well, let's get out of the boat then. You and Hawkwind are on Monster Island. The smooth purple landscape is mostly barren, though a few stunted trees grow in folds and crevasses where dirt has collected. There is a wide shallow crack in the ground before you. East of you is a small beach, and all other directions are unclimbable cliffs. Looking around, you notice that one of the strange purple rocks surrounding you seems to have a flat white object embedded in its surface. Let's take a closer look at that. It looks like a carved piece of ivory. Ooh, another one to add to our collection. It is stuck in the rock. You have difficulty prying it loose. Well, from our initial inventory that we set out with, we do have Amsel's knife, which ought to be a good prying tool. However, I do have kind of a bad feeling about this, so let's do yet another save state. And now we shall pry ivory with knife. Working with your dagger, you manage to loosen the flat white object. All at once, the ground begins to shake. There is a deafening rumble, and the ground folds and buckles. The crack before you widens and opens. A huge bellow shakes the air. In horror, you realize that the crack is a huge mouth. Monster Island is the monster. And it's not actually a peninsula. Well, it didn't work out with the Marta, but maybe the island will be friends. The enraged monster swallows you whole. Thus ends your quest for the dragon. Man, it really didn't like that smooch. No accounting for tastes, I suppose. Now, if I recall correctly, Hawkwind actually has some decent advice here for a change. Hawkwind yells to you above the roar, "The flute!" Ah yes, the fabled flute of dreams. Let's give it a try. You begin to play mesmerizing music on the flute of dreams. The mouth yawns, then closes again. Once more, Monster Island sleeps. Should you ever take it upon yourself to play through this game, let me state most emphatically, do not forget to actually pick up the ivory here once you've pried it loose and silenced Monster Island. I cannot tell you the number of times I've proceeded onward toward the endgame and then realized that I left the ivory sitting there because I forgot to actually collect it. There are no points of no return that I recall. You can come back and get it, but it's quite a slog and really, really annoying. So yeah, get ivory. And with that, we are clear to return to the dock. And we'll be nice and tie it up for the next traveler. And with that, I think we're about ready for the endgame. What I am doing now is proceeding to the southern gate of Kandesh, because we will have to proceed south from the city to the very far southland. I just have to find my way there. I believe the Ran wagon here is on the right track. There we go, to the south, the southern walls of the city Kandesh. Oh, okay, we have to get back on the Boulevard of Death first. There we go, south is the southern gates, not the walls. You and Hawkwind stand before the south gates of Kandesh. The road that runs north to south has brought you here. The south gates are ornately carved. Hawkwind lifts a demon's tongue that serves as a knocker and lets it fall. A brass tone reverberates. A panel shaped like a warrior's visor opens, and a guard looks out. "Farewell, friends. A safe journey to you," he says. Well, what a friendly guard. That's a nice change of pace. All right, for the first time in a very long while, we proceed outside of the city. The gates open. You leave Kandesh. The gates close behind you. You and Hawkwind are on the road to Dragonmount. North of you are the southern gates of Kandesh. South of you, the road continues out of sight. In all other directions is thick underbrush and impassable wilderness. Hey, we're being funneled to the south. It's been a while. You and Hawkwind are on the road that runs north to south between Kandesh and Dragonmount. You are standing near a grove of trees. Thick underbrush surrounds you. From the east you hear faint sounds of revelry and laughter. The business to the east is completely optional, and we won't really miss anything important if we just go south from here, but there's a little bit of flavor there, so I'm going to go ahead and head in that direction. You and Hawkwind crouch in the bushes at the edge of a Rayan camp. Colorful wagons fill a clearing in the woods. A fire burns in an open pit. The giant goats that pull the Rayan wagons sleep, their legs folded beneath them. Rayan are dancing and laughing about the fire. To the south, through the woods, you see a glimpse of brightly colored sailcloth. I have a little fan theory about this place. My theory being that this wind ship is the one that was used to fool the last dragon. that the Duke of Darkness hired this Rayan band to dress up a stolen windship as a dragon and use it to lure the dragon to him. I have no idea if this is what was intended, but I kinda like it. Anyway, let's go check out that windship. You and Hawkwind are in a large clearing. Near you, a windship rests in the middle of the clearing. The balloon sails are deflated. A rope ladder hangs down the side. Seems awfully inviting, doesn't it? It is too high off the ground. Can we climb the ladder? Hawkwind says, "A good idea, Amsel. Our need is great, and this windship is, after all, the rightful property of the monarchy of Symbala." So that confirms at least that it is a stolen windship. You and Hawkwind are aboard a Cymbalese windship. The polished temwood railings and brass fixtures gleam in the sunlight. To the west you see the distant cliffs of Dragonmount. An ornate brazier stands beneath the balloon sails. In the brazier, rainbow-colored jewels sparkle. A bucket of water sits nearby. In the stern is a small cabin. I don't believe we can actually get into the cabin. The door to the cabin is locked. Fair enough. As we've learned in the past, the balloon sails are inflated by syndral gas, and the syndral jewels are ignited by pouring water on them. So let's go ahead and do that. You splash water on the jewels, and they start to smolder. Gas forms that fills the sails. The mighty windship shudders as you hurry to the ropes and cast off. The windship lifts free of the clearing. From below, you hear angry shouts as the Rayans discover the theft. Sucks to be you guys. Okay, we were on a general southward route toward Dragonmount, so we might as well head that direction in the air. We can't go that way. Do we need to go back to the west first? You glide on a swift wind toward the west. You approach the northern face of Dragonmount. The winds become turbulent. With some help, you manage to bring the ship down into a sheltered area near the base of the mountain. You and Hawkwind climb carefully out of the disabled windship. You and Hawkwind stand at the base of Dragonmount. To the south rises a majestic peak. The cliffs are too steep to climb. To the west you see a magnificent waterfall. A broken windship lies near you on the ground. This is exactly the same place we would reach if we came here by foot, just by going to the south rather than east to the Rayan camp. But again, going to the east is a little more flavorful and gives me an opportunity to spout off about my stupid theory, so that's what we did. This provides a decent opportunity to take stock of our inventory and make sure everything for the endgame is here. There will be a lot of superfluous crap as well, so I'll point out what's actually important. We'll be needing the 3 pieces of ivory, the Tana leaves. We will be needing the star sword and the rope. We'll be needing the ring, the jade key, the elixir, the dragon scale, and the jewels. As a matter of fact, we'll be needing the jewels right now. It seems our path has come to a dead end, but the game just helpfully reminded us that syndral jewels will burn if exposed to water, and we've got a big old waterfall dead ahead. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Do we need to approach a little closer? Maybe just throw jewels. I could swear that's how this is supposed to work. Oh, okay, it's west of here. My bad. You and Hawkwind stand next to a magnificent waterfall. It thunders into a raging river that flows to the northwest. You are at the end of the road to Dragonmount. There we go. Now we do our throwing. Hawkwind throws the Cinderel jewels at the waterfall. There is a huge explosion, and when the dust clears, you see that the waterfall has been diverted by the reaction of the jewels hitting the water. The new position of the waterfall reveals a cave to the south. Given that we had to divert the waterfall to get that entrance to appear, one wonders how the Duke gets in when he does it normally. I suppose we don't really need to know. The important thing is, we've got a way in for ourselves. You enter the cave. A few feet into it, the walls change from rough stone to smooth. You and Hawkwind look around you. There are holes in the east and west walls, and a trapdoor in the ceiling. The air and walls are quite warm. The heat seems to be emanating from the ceiling. To the north is a narrow chute through which you glimpse daylight. Suddenly, a door slides down from the ceiling, and with a resounding slam imprisons you. You grope your way to a wall and find spikes emerging from the holes. With a ground-shaking rumble, the walls begin closing in on you, while from somewhere you hear what could be laughter. Well, that can't be good. Save state. Dance. Kiss Hawkwind. Ask Hawkwind. Hawkwind has nothing to say. Very helpful. Jump. You have one last chance. Dance some more. The walls are getting closer. Jump some more. The spiked walls close in on you. All goes black. You are dead. You leap into the air. Once again, we see that glitch in which you sometimes get to perform your action after you've been killed. Always kind of a giggle in my book. Anyway, let's try that again. You know, it's been quite a while since I played the Apple version of this, but I could swear there was a graphic here. I don't know why there isn't one in the C64 version, maybe a disk space issue or something. In any case, while fairly daring, our action here is pretty straightforward. Climb the spikes. You and Hawkwind climb the rapidly closing walls using the spikes as hand and footholds. You are at the ceiling. Well, let's get our asses through that trapdoor. It opens easily. Well, I'm very glad for that. You and Hawkwind slip through the trapdoor. Below you, the walls grind together and then slowly draw apart again. You and Hawkwind are standing on a narrow ledge next to a huge pit of molten lava. The room is extremely hot. On the northern perimeter of the room is a trapdoor leading downward. To the east of the pit is a small round opening. On the southern perimeter, you see a beautiful glass door. You stand by the trapdoor. That little opening to the east of the pit is the chute we saw from the spike room. It just leads outside of Dragonmount, so we have a quick route back to the exit if we need it. What we need to do is go to that glass door on the southern perimeter. Unfortunately, we have a huge-ass lava pool in front of us. I don't believe there's any way to get yourself killed with a lava pool here, but I'm gonna go ahead and save and see if I can't find one. No shit, my attempt fails. Alright, it appears our ability to screw around here is fairly limited. In that case, you may recall in the last episode that we acquired a ring from the alchemist who kinda chucked it at us, and a close examination of that ring revealed the word lava written on it. How very convenient. You hurl the ring into the lava lake. There is a huge hiss of blinding steam. After a moment, the steam clears, and you see in front of you a lake of black igneous rock. Nothing terribly new and exciting about the room description, so let's go ahead and move on to that glass door. In front of you is a huge glass door, ornately etched with Kabbalistic symbols. A huge lock of black jade secures the door. Is black jade a thing? Don't think I've ever heard of that before. I've always heard of it as a green thing. Anyway, we picked up a jade key in Doomhaven. Not sure why it was there, but it wouldn't surprise me, I suppose, if the Duke of Darkness had dealings with the assassins. Anyway, jade lock, meet jade key. Done and done. You and Hawkwind have stepped through a doorway and are in a long, narrow hallway lined with mirrors. The door closes behind you. It is impossible to find it again. The mirrors reflect into each other, multiplying themselves into infinity, making it impossible to tell how big the room is. You see thousands of Amzels and Hawkwinds all around you, and they are not alone. Reflected with you is a huge warrior, 7 feet tall. His thousands of images are each encased in shiny armor with a lowered visor. Each one has an arm that ends in a huge mace. The images raise the maces threateningly. As near as I've ever been able to determine, there isn't actually any way to get yourself killed by the warrior here. But once again, I'll faff around a little bit just to make sure. Hawkwind swings at the giant warrior, and the blade shatters a mirror. The warrior swings his mace. You feel a breeze through your hair as the mace narrowly misses your head. Hawkwind, you have a very strange idea of kissing. What exactly would you do if I told you to attack the guy? The warrior dodges your attack. One of the mirrors shatters under the force of your blow. Something very similar. Well, maybe if we keep doing that, we'll be able to at least get a clearer picture of what's going on in here. Oh shit. I never had that happen before. Interesting. Man, I'm finding new things in this LP. I never expected that to happen as many times as I've gone through this game before. Now, I know we could heal that with the elixir, but that would mean we'd have to go back and buy another elixir at the restaurant in Kandesh, and I really don't want to do that. This makes me wonder if there actually is a use for that ray and salve that we bought from the wagon. But first, let me see if we can attack the warrior again to get another mirror broken. Actually, no, Hawkwind dropped his weapon. Let's go ahead and try and attack again and just see what happens. I did, after all, drop a save state. Okay, that's what I expected. I also note the warrior seems to be losing his bearings. Well, well, it seems we're not any less boggled, but the warrior is more boggled. Seems like he actually needs the mirrors to keep himself oriented. At this point, we could continue hacking away at the mirrors one at a time. That would work perfectly fine. We could destroy lots of mirrors at one time using the Star Sword, which would be a very bad idea because that would use up the Star Sword's one charge, and we will still need that. Or we could just do this. The mirrors shatter at the sound of the tuning fork. You and Hawkwind are in a long, narrow hallway filled with broken glass. North of you is a glass door, east of you is a doorway, and in the south wall a smaller doorway. Facing you is a giant warrior 7 feet tall, etc., etc. Alright, Hawkwind, old bean, I think you've got this covered now. Hawkwind steps forward. I am Hawkwind, monarch of Simbala. You killed my father. Prepare to die. Wait, wrong line. I am Hawkwind, monarch of Simbala. Prepare to defend yourself. Disoriented without the mirrors, the warrior is no match for Hawkwind. He runs for his life. Now that we've got him out of the way, if I recall correctly, that smaller door to the south is where the third and final minigame was edited out. Let me take a quick look and confirm that. You try without success to open the smaller door. Finally, Hawkwind says, "It's no use, Amsel. This door has been sealed shut." Yep, that's where the minigame was. And when we bounce back, the warrior's here again, but we can get rid of him again in exactly the same way. Bye. You and Hawkwind are in a small wooden room. There is a small door to the west and a wheel on one wall. Other than that, the room is empty. I don't really know if it matters that we got wounded in the battle with the warrior, or the battle with the mirrors as the case may be. Let me see if I can apply that salve, just in case. You apply the salve. All of your injuries are miraculously healed. Well, how about that? There actually is a use for it. I don't know what, if anything, would happen if we left those injuries untreated, but wow, learning new things about a very old and well-trod game. That's pretty damn cool. Moving along, it's fairly obvious what to do here. You turn the wheel. You hear a groaning noise beneath the floor. The door to the west seems to slide down beneath the floor as the small room rises rapidly. After a moment, it stops level with another door to the west. West it is. You and Hawkwind are in a wide, gloomy chamber. High above you is an opening through which filters diffused daylight. A hook protrudes from the ceiling next to it. On the wall next to you is a clear resin tablet with runes on it. East of you is a small doorway. Near you is a fireplace filled with wood. An old black cauldron sits in a corner. Lying on the ground are 2 sticks. Free sticks. Now, what is that tablet all about? Hawkwind says, "It seems to be a recipe written in an old Southland language, Amsel." As Hawkwind deciphers the plaque for you, you sense the last dragon's presence through the dragon pearl. To cure a captive of his ill, the cauldron with elixir fill. Add tanna leaves and dragon scale, all this to make the darkness fail. As helpful as that is, I really have to question this. I mean, let me get this straight. This is the Duke of Darkness's home base. It is here that he is holding the last dragon captive. It is here that he intends to kill the last dragon in a necromantic ritual that he hopes will make him ruler of Symbala. This is his house. And yet he keeps a tablet on the wall engraved with what appears to be a straightforward recipe for curing his captive, that is, the last dragon. Not only that, it explicitly says this is how to make the darkness fail. If there has ever been a villain who deserved to lose, it is the Duke of Darkness. Alright then, let's go ahead and give him what he deserves. We'll put the elixir in the cauldron. Add tanna leaves. And dragon scale. Okay, let's get it first. There's one more thing you need to do here, and I want to see if there's any hint the game gives you. I seem to remember one, but I'm not sure how to get it. Nothing unusual. Alright, maybe it was only in the Apple version, but I could swear there was some way to get a message to the effect that the mixture in the cauldron looks cold and unappetizing. You would think if he's dying, the dragon would be willing to dump it down his throat anyway, but no, we have to cook it. So let's rub those sticks together. You rub the sticks furiously together. After a few minutes, you have a nice little blaze going. Good work, Scout. No one likes a smart-ass, Dragonworld. And we put the cauldron on the fire. Done. Soon the contents of the cauldron are boiling merrily, forming a fragrant potion. You take the bubbling cure. Excellent. Next up, we noticed something at the top of the room and a hook, and that's why we have a rope. You tie a loop in the rope and toss it repeatedly at the hook. Finally, Hawkwind says, "Let me try, Amsel." He takes the rope from you and easily tosses it through the hook. Show off. Hawkwind checks the rope and finds that it holds his weight. He goes first to examine the cupola, then returns to boost you and wait until you are safely settled on top. He follows you up. You and Hawkwind are standing on a narrow ledge in a small cupola made of blue crystal. You see nothing through the crystal but diffused sunlight. Directly in front of you is a large circular dragon-shaped pattern. Below you, a rope dangles down from a hook in the ceiling, disappearing into a gloomy chamber. That looks important. It is a recessed circular pattern in the wall of the cupola. It's fairly obvious that you need to put something into the pattern here, but as far as I'm aware, there's no way of telling what you need to put into it short of trial and error. What you actually need is the 3 pieces of ivory found at various points throughout the game. You fit the ivory into the recessed pattern in the crystal. It is a perfect fit. The outline of a doorway opening southward appears before you in the cupola. You and Hawkwind go through the doorway. You and Hawkwind stand in a vast windswept crater. Storm clouds move slowly overhead. North of you is a crystal cupola with a doorway in its side. The crater rim looms around you. West of you, on a huge platform of bloodstone, lies the last dragon. He is bound to the platform by a huge chain that ends in a visor around his head, preventing him from speaking or breathing flame. Stairs lead up to him. You hear evil chanting, but cannot tell where it comes from. He is alive, but drugged. At long last, we finally found our abducted friend. But man, does it look like he's in a bad way. We'd better hurry to his side. You and Hawkwind stand at the top of a huge staircase. Below you stretches a vast crater. Storm clouds move slowly overhead. The crater rim looms around you in all directions. Next to you, the last dragon lies on a gigantic platform. He is alive, but breathing sluggishly. He is bound to the platform by a huge chain that ends in a visor around his head. Our next actions here will be very important, so let's fuck them up completely. Hey, last, how you been? The dragon does not answer. Hawkwind, any ideas? Hawkwind looks worried and shakes his head. Kissing makes it all better, right? Yeah, I guess the attempt would fail if he's, got his lips visored shut. Maybe a little dance will cheer him up? The dragon's breathing is growing more labored. The evil chanting comes to a climax. We must do something quickly, Amsel, Hawkwind says. But the effort is fruitless. The dragon's breathing stops. You look at each other in horror. The dragon is dead. The Duke has won. That's something a little unusual for this game. A game over that doesn't involve Amsel's death. Alright, let's do it properly this time. First off, we're going to have to do something about that chain. Alright, Hawkwind, I'm gonna need you to hack like you've never hacked before. Hack the planet, hack the Gibson. Hawkwind swings the Star Sword. The chain and the visor drop away, freeing the last dragon. And that, my friends, is what the Star Sword is really for. Hope you haven't used it before now, cause if you did, you're fucked. Let's see if our buddy's feeling a little better now. Nope, even with his face unshackled, he's still in a bad way. Fortunately, the Duke was kind enough, by which I mean stupid enough, to tell us how to cure a captive of his ill and make the darkness fail. You give the potion to the dragon. He opens his eyes. "My friends!" he bellows. There is a shout of rage from behind you. Both of you turn to see the Duke of Darkness rise from a hidden trapdoor. He holds two long curved swords in his hands. "So, you would thwart my magic at the last moment!" he cries, and rushes forward to attack. Well, he looks like a pretty tough guy, dual-wielding and all, but Hawkwind's pretty tough himself. Go to it, Monarch. Hawkwind leaps forward, swinging his weapon with a battle cry, but the Duke, with the strength of madness, parries the blow. There is a furious exchange of swords, and both Hawkwind and the Duke drop back, watching each other warily. It is a standoff. Well, maybe we're going about this the wrong way. Nope, he's in no mood to listen to reason. I've never actually succeeded in getting myself killed by the Duke. I don't think it's possible, so all we can really do here is have him and Hawkwind bounce off each other for all eternity, or trigger the ending. Now, if you think way back to the early game when we talked to Ephrion at the palace, he told us that when we find the last dragon, our victory cry will be "Darkness fears the flame." While we are still confronting the rotten bastard who drugged and kidnapped the last dragon, we have found him, and we have restored his health. If that's not cause for a victory cry, I don't know what is. So we shall say, "Darkness fears the flame." And the quotes, I believe, are required. The dragon opens his mouth. A burst of white flame, brighter than 100 suns, hurtles upward. The Duke covers his eyes. "No!" he shrieks madly. "Not the flame!" He turns and runs toward the crater rim. Before you or Hawkwind can move to stop him, he has leapt over the edge. The last dragon looks down at you. "Come, my friends," he says. "Let us go home." You and Hawkwind climb onto the dragon's neck. The dragon unfolds his old but sturdy wings and stands. "I was wise to entrust the dragon pearl to you, Amsel," he says. He looks skyward and begins to ascend. Hawkwind smiles. Your quest is complete. You are heroes. Well, that was very enjoyable, but no, I think I'll pass on playing again. And that, my friends, is Dragonworld. Much like Below the Root, this is a game I go way back with, all the way to my elementary school years. It's a game I used to play over and over again, and I think it may have been the first text adventure I ever successfully finished on my own. As of this LP, it had been a long time since I revisited it, but it was just like riding a bike. Didn't need a guide or anything, it all came right back to me. I do have to say once again that it was kind of weird LPing a text adventure, but I had a good time doing it, and I hope you had a good time riding along. If you enjoyed this run through the game, I would recommend the book. I gave it a reread in preparation for this LP, and it held up pretty well. Quite enjoyed it. Next week is going to be a very busy and chaotic one for me, so I think what I'm gonna do is upload a little something silly just to bridge the gap, and then the following week I'll go ahead and launch into the other co-winner of the last patron poll. I hope to see you again for those, and in the meantime I thank you very much for watching and sharing the journey. I remain and that's game, Hendrix. Today's Dragon Riders not of Pern have been brought to you by Justin Carpenter, Nolden, Zangamarth, Anonymous Benefactor, John Madigan, Sanguine Games, Misha Van Doren, Frank Grizzy, Tim J., Lolo de Puzzlo, Joshua C. Ritchie, Jared C. Rice, Sonic Rose, EX Potemkin, Alicia Goranson, Mechasaurus, DG Jono, Doug Russell, August Fortnite, Patrick Bellinger, Rob Lyons, Andy Kurland, Jarogue, Martin Schallenmakers, Mayo the Hedgefox, Hildegard Argelmach, IGV, Jazel, Joseph Hall, Hot Mayo Sandwich, Dan Larson, Electric Keat, McCaffrey Crandall, welcome, and other heroic patrons. Thank you all very much for your support, and thank you to all subscribers and commenters and all you watchers out there. I am always glad to have you along, and I hope you'll stay and hang out a while. Have an excellent week, and be excellent to each other.